Well, hello everyone. Welcome to my third video. So before we start, let's introduce myself. My name is Tenchi, and some of you maybe already know that the name is based on an anime character called Tenchi Muyo. Tenchi is not my real name, of course, just my nickname that I kind of gave myself when I was younger, because I was a big fan of the character from the anime. And welcome to Talking Geeky Stuff. And wonder what the topic is today. Okay, so the topic is anime. As I mentioned, if anybody did watch my second video, I'm going through the my geek culture, the geek culture's favorite pastime. So I've already done video games. I recently uploaded Star Wars based on film and TV and so on. I just thought I'd talk about Star Wars because I finished The Mandalorian Season 2. And today I'm talking about anime, another one of my favorite pastimes that I want to talk about. But before we start, let's get some images so we can talk about them. So we got Tenchi Muyo, Akira, Ghost in the Shell, the first movie, of course, and not the special edition. We all like. I didn't really like the CG that I did on later on. Pat Labor in the movie #1, the same director as Ghost in the Shell, Mamoru Ulushi, and then good old fashioned. This is one of my favorites. Ninja Scroll back in the 90s. I used to love that film. And a little known film called Wings of Honeymise. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's really rare. I mean, I remember back in the day when manga released it, I saw the trailer, loved the animation, watched it, loved the story, the characters. It was great. No action. It's not an action film. It's set in like set in like a different dimension. So definitely check that out as well. And then of course I got some honorable mentions here. Lupin the Third, Castle of Cagliostro. I'll never be able to pronounce that word. The classic Vampire Hunter D. Not the 2000 one. I'm talking about the 1985. And then you got Gundam Wing. So, so I'll spend a little bit of time going through all that. But before we go into a bit more detail about anime and how I started and everything like that, I thought I'd let everyone know that so far my videos have been kind of unscripted. No, it is unscripted. I think of a topic. I do a bit of the graphics on PowerPoint. Kind of follow like a presentation. I talk about how it inspires me and why I love this stuff. So it's unscripted, so I may get names and dates wrong, which is just talking on top of my head. I don't have any notes on me. I don't write notes. I just think it's pretty fun that I just talk randomly about things. Yeah, pretty spontaneous. I was looking for the word spontaneous. Yeah, so let's talk about anime. So you see here some of the images I put here that I really love these anime, that really got me into anime. Of course, there's many more. Of course, I couldn't fit every single anime that inspired me, but I just kind of chose the ones that really I can think of straight away. I mean, the ones that you think of straight away are usually the one that kind of sticks to you, right? So let's talk about Tenchi Muyo. That I kind of love the name, love the character. He never really didn't really get that big because I'm from the UK, so it didn't really get big. And I managed to get, because my parents, in Chinatown used to get videos, like TVB movies, dramas and stuff like that. And every now and again, back in the late 80s and early 90s, my mum or dad bring back some like cartoons to treat me and my brother to watch cartoons. Well, to them it was cartoons, and to me it was also cartoons. I couldn't tell much difference between cartoons and anime at that time. And during that time, my mum brought back a whole load of TV shows like the original Dragon Ball, for example. Tenchi Muyo was one of them. Even ran my half until my mum realised that when he turns into the woman, he has his the boobs hang out, and then she stopped renting that for us. We was quite young then. And yeah, so Tenchi was one of them. And we never really finished the series when it was in Chinese. So I was pretty happy a few years afterwards. And then I got a bit older, started university in the 90s, had a part-time job. And then, of course, DVDs start to come out. Even before that, to be honest, kind of the end of the life of VHS. Because in the UK, we had manga, releasing videos, anime videos, before they got into like distribution into cinema. And I used to go to like Soho, get these kind of import places that imports videos and so on. And I remember seeing Tenchi Muyo, so I quickly grabbed that, purchased that. Then, of course, as DVDs come out and internet got bigger, I ordered it, import version. Because in America, in America, US, they had a bigger market than the UK. So you had in America, they had a lot more anime releases over there. So a lot of my stuff was imported from America. But that is one of them. And then, of course, I think the one that, but even then, back then when I was watching Tenchi, I never really knew it was anime. I think the one that made me think of anime, as in this is anime and this is a cartoon, was Akira. I think it was about 89, around 89. One of my local comic shops, which is they're gone now, they used to be cool. I used to had a part-time job there. They were really cool, and I remember once I went to some convention, and they, as a gift for me when I was helping them out, working for them, they got me a Akira, the video. They knew I loved the manga. Well, that time it was actually under Epic Comics. Epic was under Marvel, and it was a colored version of Akira, the books. It wasn't a comic; it's a little bit bigger than the comics. And then, of course, I knew about the anime, of course, and then so they got me the video. Went home, watched it. I was blown away by Akira. Animation was fantastic. I've never seen an animation like this. Because I was never really into kind of Disney cartoons, and I just felt I just never really liked that Western cartoon style. Maybe something about the animation, I found it too light, really bouncy, I won't go into that much about detail. But it's just a matter of references, really. So I watched Akira. I remember I finished it, and I watched it again. It was crazy. I mean, I didn't really understand the story much at the time. I was only a teenager. And I think Akira is one of those ones that really put anime on the map. It really did. Because back then, a lot of, especially in the UK anyway, a lot of people, especially parents then, thought anime was kind of like sex and violence. I couldn't really blame them at that time because you had a lot of kind of pornographic anime got released, like the Overfiend came out. It was even on the news. A lot of news is that the news at that time, mainstream media, there was kind of warning parents to avoid buying anime and stuff like that. But when Akira came out, he offered not just good animation, it's, a good solid plot story. It makes you think about humans' existence and kind of even put cyberpunk, a genre, on the map as well. We all knew that Akira and even the creator Katsuhiro Otomo, credited Ridley Scott's Blade Runner for his influence, but I knew cyberpunk through Akira, and that kind of become one of my favorite kind of anime genres at the time. Of course, Akira is like a fine wine. The more you get older, the more you watch it, the more you appreciate it, the more you understand the story. So that was definitely a big influence on me. And I still love the character. I mean, there was one time I loved the original manga video. The dub does not exist no more. I actually enjoyed that dub. It wasn't as accurate as the later dubs, but I loved the dub because the voice actor who played Kaneda, that's how they pronounced Kaneda's name. Later on, they pronounced it as Canada. But that time, I used to love the name Kaneda. I even had Kaneda's face profile on my Facebook, when I had Facebook, that was, as a profile. Because a lot of my friends used to say I look like him. That's cool. I don't mind. And of course, I used to love the jacket and the bike. To this day, the bike, it's amazing design. Oh, that bike is amazing. And then fast forward, you got Ghost in the Shell, which is another fantastic animation. I mean, I've seen it every time in the cinema. Like when it came out in 1996, I saw it in the cinema. Then 10 years in 2006, and then recently, 5 years ago now, in 2016 for this 20th anniversary. And every time I watch it, it actually makes more sense. He actually is very current with the times. I remember when I first watched it in '96, the question was, "What makes you human?" Right? Is it and stuff like that? Is it you need to be born naturally, or is it consciousness that makes you human, individuality, and so on and so forth, right? Then you watch it again. I remember watching it again in 2006, and the question asks you what makes you human and stuff like that. I felt it was a little bit different because because the world is like how the world becomes in the 2000, where trend just hits and everybody just follows a trend. Like people just follow things, and it still happens today, really. And it's about that, the puppet master talking about the collective conscious. Is it about individuality anymore? Because if you think about today's society, not many of us, or majority of us, are not individuality. We get influenced so easily by people around us, in media, certain things. I mean, people get triggered for things they post on Twitter that is so out of context. You can make a statement about something and people just blow it out of proportions. People start labeling you all kinds of isms nowadays because you have a bit different opinion, and they just ignore your opinion. So that's what I liked about that. And then of course, then you watch it again in 2016. You ask the same question, but your point is different again, because we come to the point where technology has almost reached that level of in Ghost in the Shell, right? So you ask you the question, what makes you human? And you watch it 96, 2006, and 2016. Every time I watched it, I gave a different answer. Because you look at technology nowadays, and you look at Ghost in the Shell, asks you what makes you human. The first time I talk about is it collective conscience, is it individuality? And then you ask you the question, is technology or human, does it have to be kind of like physical contact? Is it like one-to-one talk? Because everything we do now is through Twitter, through social media, through mainstream media. And of course, with the pandemic, everyone's working from home and no one's really seen each other. It kind of talks about that as well. And I can see that happening. So that's what I love about Ghost in the Shell. Definitely, if you haven't seen it for a while, watch it again and relate to the current technology and the climate, and it really makes a difference. Of course, you've got Pat Labor. I'm a sucker for giant robots. Being a big fan of Transformers when I was a kid and stuff like that. And I love the Pat Labor because I knew about the TV show, TV little shoes, but I didn't really get into it because I just didn't get into it. And then I actually watched Pat Labor after Ghost in the Shell. So I watched it in the mid-90s because after Ghost in the Shell, of course, I knew about the director, Mamoru Oshii, right? And of course, manga also released Pat Labor, the first movie, and plastered all over. This is from the same director as Ghost in the Shell. So of course that got me, and then I watched it. Oh my god, that was such a good film. I mean, there's not many actions, and when there were, they was really good. Animation was good for its time, and it still is. It has a nice style to it, really stylized. And I love the cast. The cast was really down to earth, nothing superhuman, and a lot of their kind of investigation in technology kind of made sense, and how it unraveled the investigation and so on and so forth. And also I love the theme song at the end, the theme music. I used to watch that I had it on video, or VHS, sorry, and I used to watch it, and then I just leave the credits roll up, and I would rewind it just to listen to the music. Now, of course, you got all these technology, you can just put a repeat on YouTube, but back then you had to kind of rewind your VHS to play it again. Yeah, and then of course, good old classic Ninja Scroll. I mean, I've always, because we all know that, anime, Japanese, so on and so forth, right? But of course, a lot of people associate anime with things like, well, back then anyway, now it's a little bit different, was kind of technology, mecha, cyberpunk kind of stuff, like even demons and monsters and sex and violence. But I've always wanted to watch a good ninja film, a ninja anime. And of course, Ninja Scroll come out, and he was from the same director as the Cyber City 808. They were good. I hope they make more of those. I've been dying for them to make more Cyber Cities 808 because I love they only had 3 kind of OAVs for that. That was really good. And then, of course, I heard Yoshi. I can't remember his full name now. Yoshimitsu Take. You know what? If you know, let me know. I know it's Yoshi something. And yeah, he directed the Cyber Cities that I heard about. He did Ninja Scroll, so of course I quickly got the video again from my manga. Watched that. I loved it. There was of course, in UK at that time, a lot of stuff got cut. There's a few scenes. Of course, later on, you got the special edition Blu-rays and DVDs. It was a full uncut because by end of 90s, early 2000, the rating system got a lot more lenient. It allowed more kind of unrated movies to come out. But there was a couple of scenes that got cut out. So I saw when I got my DVD version, I got the American import because it was the full version. But now I got the Blu-ray. Anyway, going back to Wings of Honimise, again another good one, manga released. And by that time, I was itching for movies because I started a lot watching anime through movies, mostly like one-off movies, really. TV shows, not too much. I had to maybe Tenchi a bit of Dragon Ball here and there, some Gundam, stuff like that. But mostly just kind of movies I really watched. So I was itching for more science fiction. So I saw the trailer for that, saw the animation. I thought, wow, this is fantastic. I watched it. It was really great characters. It was set in like a different dimension to Earth, a different Earth or something like that, about space. And I loved it. I loved the design. It's kind of futuristic, but has kind of 1950s and 60s design to it. So I really liked that, and definitely worth a watch. It's slow. It's a slow-paced film, but it's really story-driven. So definitely check those. What I just said, those movies here, really, really good. Then of course some of the honorable mention, like Castle of Caskelok. I still can't pronounce it. I still struggle to pronounce that. Of course, you all know it's directed by Hayao Miyazaki. In my opinion, he's the greatest anime director of all time. And I think this was before he created Studio Ghibli. I'm not 100% sure, but and Studio Ghibli, in my opinion, is the greatest animated studio of all time. So, sorry, Pixar. Pixar, you're good, but Studio Ghibli is the best animation studio out there. Their movies have just got so much heart. I mean, I could have put more of their Studio Ghibli movies here, but I have all the collections, all the Ghibli movies, but I do. But of course, Miyazaki's movies just have that something extra about his movies. It's got more heart to it. I might have another talk about his movies. I think about that. Maybe when I go back and talk about a bit more animation, I may talk about Ghibli movies and Miyazaki movies in particular as well. And then, of course, Vampire Hunter D, another classic back in the mid-80s. I used to love that stuff. I think I worn the video out so much that he ended up not being playing. I think it was the same creator who did the Fist of the North Star. One of my friends loved the Fist of the North Star, but I was on the side of Vampire Hunter D. So we used to always argue which was better. He was a better fighter, D or Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. But I've always kind of don't get me wrong, I like Fist of the North Star. It was a great movie, but it just got a bit boring at the end. But Vampire Hunter D, I think his character is great. He looks cool. I mean, the remake or the new one back in early 2000 was pretty good. I love the animation. It's from Madhouse Studios, the one who did the same studio who did Ninja Scrolls and so on. Yeah, they were pretty good, but the good old classics. Love the animation, no CGI to it, it's all hand animated, and so on. And of course, last but not least, Gundam Wing. The funny thing was, I actually watched Gundam, I think, before that. one of the first 80s, early 80s or mid 80s. I can't remember what it's called, but I actually didn't think too much of it. I thought it was fun, but it didn't get me. It was until like what 95 when Gundam Wing came out that really got me. I think the new style animation, the robots or the mechs look so slick, and I watched all the episodes, and then of course you had the movie Endless Waltz came out, and that kind of got me into Gundam again. And I started watching Gundam, loads of other Gundam movies, and I tell you what, I recently finished. I won't say recent, a couple of years ago, was Gundam Orphan and Gundam Orphans. Yeah, it was actually those two episodes or seasons really good. If you haven't seen Gundam Orphans, definitely check it out. I won't spoil it, but the second season, the first season was great, right? But boy, the second season was good, and there was some really good shocking moments in there. I was like, wow, they actually did that. So definitely check out Gundam Orphans as well. So just to wrap it up, here's some of the anime movies or TV show that inspired me on my anime journey. And at the same time, I've been a bit slow on watching anime. I mean, what have I finished recently? I mean, just a year ago, I just finished Dragon Ball Super. I'm pretty late to it. I mean, I still haven't finished off all My Hero Academia. I'm still waiting to finish off Attack of Titans Season 4. I'm just waiting for all the episodes I can binge them. So definitely check some of these animes out. You won't be disappointed. Well, you may, at the end, there's all opinion, right? And you haven't seen these ones, definitely go and check them out, because without some of these animations or anime, there won't be some of your favorite animes that exist today. So think about these are like the grandfather, the OGs of the genre itself. So thank you again for listening. I'm hoping this video was a little bit shorter than the last one, and hoping the sound's better as well. I actually raised, and this again, your mic. Let's see how good the channel goes. But thank you again, and stay safe, and have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Goodbye.